Thank you to LMNT for sponsoring this video. Very recently, Steph Curry led his Golden State Warriors to the NBA championship, securing his 4th ring and his first Finals MVP, which I would argue should have been his second. After this series finally concluded, I witnessed the basketball community respond in a variety of ways. Some were quick to dismiss Curry's accomplishments, mentioning how some of his rings weren't that difficult given his supporting cast, and some even went as far as criticizing his level of competition. Then there were many who took a more favorable approach, saying things like Steph Curry is now a top 10 player all time, and some even went as far as saying that he is in the top 5. With his first championship secured since the departure of Kevin Durant, it makes sense that this ring is seen as a legacy-defining achievement for Steph. But when we look at it objectively, just where should he fall on the list of the most legendary players in NBA history? Generally speaking, are people overreacting or underreacting to this new development? Today, I'll do my best to sort that all out as we analyze in detail the legacy of this legendary shooter in comparison to the other legends he's currently up against. For starters, let's look at the comparison between Steph and the other legendary point guard that he's often compared to, Magic Johnson. It may seem premature to some and overdue to others, but the reality is that the conversation has heated up between Steph Curry and Magic Johnson for the title of the greatest point guard in league history. So this begs the question, has Steph Curry finally surpassed him? There was a time where this question would have made me scoff and laugh at the mere suggestion, but as things currently stand as of this morning, it's a stunningly warranted conversation. So before we specifically dig into this comparison, let's first examine the ascending career of Curry. For quite a while now, Steph has held the title of the greatest shooter to ever live, and as of this past season, he finally had the numbers to back it up, as he officially passed Ray Allen as the NBA's all-time leader for the most three-pointers made in a career. And what's crazy is that he still has plenty of seasons left in the tank to extend that lead. With this recently acquired Finals MVP, Steph has now completely eradicated the most significant criticism about his legacy, the fact that he had never won a Finals MVP award. But now that is officially a thing of the past, as he was clearly the best player when it mattered most against Boston. With more MVPs than Shaq, Kobe, and Kevin Durant, Curry has already begun to build a resume that even his greatest haters can't ignore completely. He's the only unanimous MVP in NBA history, which also happened to be the highest scoring 50-40-90 season that the league has ever seen. In that sense, you could certainly argue that his 2016 campaign was the most offensively efficient basketball season that we've ever seen from an individual. But how does this all stack up to Magic Johnson, who's likely the greatest facilitator of all time? Well, they're certainly very difficult to compare to one another, given the fact that they have incredibly different playstyles. Steph is primarily a scorer, while Magic is much more of a giver. Steph is always looking to have an impact as an off-ball player, while Magic basically always had to have the ball in his hands as he controlled the entire offense. And even down to their personalities, they're extremely different, as Steph is a humble player who's completely content deferring to another star, while Magic basically demands to be the center of attention and the star of the show. So if there's ways that we're going to compare these vastly different point guards, then it has to be based on things that are more general and more comparable. Although Steph is known for having an easier road to the finals in his years with Kevin Durant, to a certain extent, the same could be said for Magic Johnson, as his Lakers were stacked with Hall of Fame talent throughout the 1980s, and the West was clearly the much weaker conference during that era. So honestly, in terms of how difficult their roads to success were, I would say that these two were actually pretty equal. At this point, Steph is a 4-time champion, a Finals MVP, and a 2-time MVP. He also has 8 All-NBA selections to go along with his 2 scoring titles and his steals title in 2016. Magic, on the other hand, is a 5-time champion, a 3-time Finals MVP, and a 3-time MVP. He also has 10 All-NBA selections to go along with his 4 assist titles and his 2 steals titles. So based on the hardware, it seems that Magic still has a bit of an edge over Curry. But Steph also has plenty of basketball still ahead of him. Today's video is brought to you by LMNT. LMNT is a tasty, science-backed electrolyte drink mix with everything you need and nothing you don't. That means lots of salt with none of the junk like no sugar, no coloring, no artificial ingredients, no gluten, no fillers, and no BS. LMNT is formulated to help anyone with their electrolyte needs and is perfectly suited for people following a keto, low-carb, or paleo diet. LMNT can help eliminate headaches, muscle cramps, fatigue, sleeplessness, and other common symptoms of electrolyte deficiency. This is why I use it. As someone who frequently plays the game of basketball, it's crucial that I not only stay hydrated, but also that I fight off my chronic headaches so that I can be in a position to enjoy the game. Right now, LMNT is offering my viewers a free sample pack with any purchase. That's 8 single serving packets free with any LMNT order. This is a great way to try all 8 flavors and how you can share LMNT with a salty friend. Get yours at drinklmnt.com/JonnyArnett. This deal is only available through my link. You must go to drinklmnt.com/JonnyArnett. Find the link in the pinned comment and in the video's description. Another aspect that Magic has in his favor is his dominant performances when the games mattered the most. Steph obviously significantly helped his legacy by finally securing his first Finals MVP, but being the brightest star on the biggest stage was nothing new for Magic, as he had arguably the greatest Finals performance of all time when he, as a 20-year-old rookie, started at center in the place of the injured Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and absolutely dominated in the championship clinching game, where he dropped 42 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals. Again, this wasn't just the greatest Finals game from a rookie, but it's arguably the greatest Finals performance in NBA history. He also had a series for the ages in the 1987 NBA Finals against the rivaled Boston Celtics, which included his iconic Baby Skyhook game winner in Game 4, as he finished the series strong while putting up this ridiculous stat line. Ultimately, I think Steph has gotten close, very, very close. But as things currently stand, he still has a small bit of room to make up if he's going to catch Magic as the greatest point guard of all time. But I will say this, at the very least, he's firmly established himself as the second greatest point guard of league history. And I say this as a person who didn't think he held that title even just a year ago. But this is only one aspect of the discussions currently revolving around Steph. The other topic is if Steph Curry has now cracked the top 10 list of the greatest players of all time, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Lots of basketball fans, especially the younger ones, have already placed him in their own top 10 lists. But honestly, I think most basketball fans don't realize just how difficult it is to crack that list. Some of his competition in no particular order is Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Tim Duncan, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Shaquille O'Neal. According to my list, that is the top 11 players in NBA history, which means that for Steph to crack the top 10, you're gonna have to knock out not only one, but 2 of those players on that list. So, which 2 are you picking? It's easy to simply suggest in a YouTube comment that Steph should be a top 10 player, but making that a reality becomes excruciatingly difficult when you realize who he's going to have to replace. Now, Steph does have more championship rings than both Larry Bird and Hakeem Olajuwon, but I would argue that specifically in the case of Olajuwon, Steph had significantly more superstar support. Throughout the prime of his career, Hakeem rarely had a second superstar to help him throughout the playoffs. I can only imagine what a young Hakeem would have accomplished with Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and several years of Kevin Durant. In the case of Bird, he managed to get 3 championship rings despite dealing with notoriously horrific back problems in the second half of his career. You could also argue that no NBA legend ever dealt with stronger consistent competition than Larry Bird did, as he was in the powerful Eastern Conference of the 1980s, which had a 76ers team with 4 All-Stars, a Bad Boy Pistons team with 4 All-Stars, a young and upcoming Chicago Bulls team, and of course, waiting for them in nearly every NBA Finals was the legendary Showtime Lakers. The fact that Bird managed to get even 3 rings out of that era is nothing but a testament to his greatness. There's another significant hurdle keeping me from comfortably placing Steph in the top 10, and that's the aspect of defense. I personally feel like defense is a widely underappreciated aspect of basketball, since it's literally half of the game, but is rarely acknowledged as such. Plenty of solid offensive players have made it into the Basketball Hall of Fame despite having no defensive prowess. Yet arguably the greatest modern defender in NBA history, Ben Wallace, was overlooked and snubbed for years and years. For me personally, the defensive end of the court should carry a significant amount of weight when your legacy is being considered. Which brings us back to Steph Curry. With the lone exception of Magic Johnson, every single one of these top 10 players were NBA All-Defense Team caliber, which is an honor that Steph Curry has never earned. You have to honestly ask yourself, is he really that much better offensively that you're able to place him ahead of some of these GOAT caliber two-way players? For me, I just can't say that. But then there's another argument that some will make in favor of Steph's spot in the top 10, and that's the fact that Steph changed the game with his three-point shooting. Now this is true. Although the league was already trending toward more three-point shots, it's undeniable that Steph completely expedited that process and led the league into the jump shooting era we know today. Now you may ask, how many NBA legends can say that they literally changed the game? You've got a point, not many, at least in the way that Curry has. But, by that logic, almost every top 10 player has some kind of narrative that would allow them to claim their spot in the top 10 as well. For example, Michael Jordan globalized the game. Magic and Bird quite literally saved the game from becoming irrelevant. Shaquille O'Neal controlled the game, Bill Russell dominated the game with more rings than fingers, and Wilt Chamberlain also changed the game by having rules created with the intent of slowing him down. It's not like the Steph narrative about him changing the game isn't legitimate, because I certainly believe it is. But to act like no other NBA legends have narratives comparable to his is not only naive, but it's also so disrespectful to those other legends. So with all of that being considered, in conclusion, I now have Steph Curry in 12th place on my list of the greatest players of all time. But if he's able to win one more ring, equaling him to the totals of Kobe, Duncan, and Magic, while surpassing Shaquille O'Neal, then he'll easily be in my top 10 regardless of the fact that he is an inferior defensive player compared to the other players in the top 10. So what do you guys think? With these new accomplishments added to Curry's already impressive resume, where does he land among the greatest point guards of NBA history? And is he now in the NBA's top 10 list? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.